I'm here to talk about more about ancient Assyria. So, what if you had Monica Lewinsky or the same type of incident occur in past society? You know, you have the king, and then you have the big scandal that the guy had sexual relations with one of his, somebody in his cabinet, so to speak, but they didn't really have a cabinet. So, let's just say this woman becomes the secretary of Ashurbanipal, the leader of Assyria, and he makes these big speeches and gets everybody all excited about how he's going to become just like the people, the average person. He's not gonna be different than them. He's out there collecting, giving flowers to mothers, and he's out there kissing babies on the forehead, and he's out there signing autographs. So anyway, he's the people's leader, right? And they all love him, and they give these big celebrations. This is in between the warfare where he's out there showing his generalship amongst the troops. He doesn't just sit back, he gets out there, and he sees somebody that's about to collapse, and he puts a sword right through their neck, and they give this big cheer for him, because everything he does is so much more magnified, because he's the leader. So, what happens is him and this lady have relations in a certain form where there is servants who see this occur, and later on the story is passed throughout the empire, and they're kind of just thinking about it in different ways. The conservatives are, of course, thinking that this is a way to get more views on YouTube. The conservatives are more thinking that this is something that's inappropriate. Their leader should be setting an example for the children of the future. And then you have those who are more on the other side of things, who think that, they think their leader is just showing himself to be more like the average person. So, you have a conflict, and they have this big hearing at the ziggurat, and, these are these giant pyramid-type buildings, but they're terrace pyramids. And so, he's brought up there into a public display, and if he is found guilty of these charges, then he is going to be impeached. And he says that he did not have intimate relations with this woman. He just got a BJ from her. So, they find the evidence. They find some of his hair on one of her cashmere sweaters from back then, which is something more Persian in design, which is very advanced and ahead of its time. And so they identify this through scientists who have contact with alien life forms, and they find out that he indeed did. And he goes ahead and he admits exactly what occurred. And so their brave leader who took this hands-on approach to leadership, they find out that he went even deeper, and there was a horse involved in this thing. Now, how do you feel about your leader at this point? Well, he's done so many good things, and then there's this hanging over. So everything was fine until they found out that there was a horse involved. And it wasn't just her who was involved, and he was just watching. Them and the horse, and you feel sorry for the horse because the horse almost didn't know what was going on. So now they're thinking about impeaching him for sure. So how does this work in ancient Assyria? Well, first he has the judge executed, and the jury rounded up, and they're chained together. The chains going through their flesh of the jury. And everybody who was involved in this entire plot is liquidated and boiled alive. First he has them their skin removed while they're still alive, then he boils them alive. And if any of them survive, he has them drawn and quartered, which is when you have a horse pull each limb in different directions. And then he actually, him and the horse were close because he used to actually ride around on this horse, but he has that horse burnt completely to remove all evidence. And she gets a villa out there in Nimrod. She gets a villa over there, and he never wants her in the public eye ever again. He gives her a hefty sum just to keep her quiet every year until he finally has her liquidated as well, and the entire plot disappears.